Okay, if you're an amateur golfer, I bet you're always looking for that one thing, right? That guaranteed way to drop your scores, like, immediately. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, maybe stop obsessing quite so much over the driver. Today, we're doing a deep dive into what might be the most crucial score-slashing part of the golf course. Those 50 to 100-yard shots, people call it the scoring zone. And honestly, mastering this area, it's often the biggest unlock for anyone really serious about cutting strokes.
It really is. And it's funny, it's this part of the game where amateur golfers often have the most confusion, but maybe do the least practice.
Right.
You look at tour pros, they might hit, what, 2 or 3 shots max from this range in a whole round?
Yeah, very few.
But for the rest of us, you basically live here. Approach shots, recovery shots, layups. They constantly put you right in this 50 to 100-yard window.
All the time.
And yet, it's still so poorly understood, even though, statistically speaking, improving here holds like exponentially more potential to lower your handicap than finding another 10 yards off the tee.
Exactly. We're talking about setting up real birdie chances,
Yeah.
And maybe more importantly, cutting out those awful score-killing double bogeys. But before we jump into the fixes, the strategies, we really need to understand the core problem. And a lot of the data points to this thing called the north-south dispersion problem.
Yeah, this is absolutely key. Most golfers, when they think about missing, they worry about left to right. Yeah,
Directional control.
standard stuff.
But when the analysts crunch the numbers specifically from this 50 to 100-yard range, the big misses, they aren't usually side to side. They're long or short.
North or south?
North or south, exactly, relative to the pin.
And the numbers are pretty stark, aren't they? Like a typical 5 handicap from 100 yards, their left-right miss is maybe 7 yards.
About that, yeah. Which is, pretty manageable. You can probably 2-putt from 7 yards sideways.
Sure.
But their long short miss, that average jumps up to 12 yards.
12 yards. Wow. 12 yards. I mean, think about that. That's the difference between a tap-in par and suddenly facing, like, a tricky 40-footer.
Or being completely short of the green.
Or worse,
Yeah.
being short in a bunker or something. That 12-yard vertical spread. That's exactly why distance control has got to be priority number 1 for consistency in this scoring zone.
So if you want to get closer, it's all about nailing the yardage first.
Precisely. Yardage control is king here.
Okay, so if this distance dispersion is the main enemy, how do we start fighting back? We've got 3 core strategies we're digging into, and the first one is actually maybe the simplest because it involves the least amount of, actual swing change.
Right. We started with the tools. Strategy number 1, gapping your wedges correctly. The single biggest mistake I see amateurs make is just having this huge canyon between their wedges.
Yeah.
They'll carry, say, a 46-degree pitching wedge and then jump straight to a 56-degree sand wedge.
That's a big jump.
It's a 10-degree leap. And that can easily translate to a 30-yard gap, maybe more, in your bag for those crucial distances.
And that massive gap forces you into these really inconsistent swing efforts, doesn't it? If your pitching wedge goes, say, 130 yards and your 56-degree goes 90, what do you do in 110 yards?
Exactly. You end up either trying to absolutely smash the 56,
Which never works well.
or you try to take something off the pitching wedge, hitting it softer. And that partial kind of fiddly effort, it immediately messes with your tempo, and boom, you get that long-short problem we just talked about.
Yeah, that feeling of being caught between clubs. It's awful.
It's a killer for repeatability. And that's why you see professionals carrying 4, sometimes even 5, dedicated wedges. They want to tighten up those yardage gaps.
So they can make the same swing every time.
Pretty much, yeah. The same committed, smooth, repeatable swing with every wedge, knowing the loft of the club itself will handle the distance change, not effort.
Okay, so here's the actionable tip that seems to benefit almost everyone based on the sources. Seriously, think about pulling out one of your long clubs, maybe that 3-wood or 5-wood you hit, twice around, and swap it for a gap wedge. Something in the, 50 to 52 degree range.
It's such a smart trade-off.
It seems like an immediate win. You'll probably use that gap wedge 10 times more often, and it just fills that critical distance gap. Huge potential scoring benefit right there.
Definitely. So equipment gapping helps deal with the external factor. Now we need to look inward at the swing itself. If we accept that amateurs are battling this 12-yard up and down dispersion, strategy number 2 is all about locking in some mechanical consistency.
And this one's maybe a bit of a mind bender for some people. It's mastering swing length, not swing effort or speed.
This is arguably the absolute most crucial concept for the scoring zone. The whole philosophy is that elite golfers get those super consistent distances by changing how far back they take their hands.
Not how hard they swing.
Exactly. Not by trying to swing harder or softer through the ball. They want the exact same tempo, the same rhythm, pretty much every single time they swing a wedge.
So, like, if they hit a 56-degree wedge with, say, 80% tempo for a 100-yard shot, they swing that same wedge with that same 80% tempo for a 60-yard shot, too.
That's the goal. The only thing that really changes is the length of the backswing, how far back the hands go.
Which is why you hear instructors talk so much about the clock method, right?
Absolutely. You train yourself to hit specific yardages by setting your hands at different positions on an imaginary clock face. Like 9 o'clock means hands parallel to the ground in the backswing.
Okay.
Maybe 10:30, maybe 11 o'clock for longer shots. You're basically building repeatability by making the movement feel more mechanical, more quantifiable.
Less feel, more system.
Sort of, because the human body really struggles with those partial effort swings. Our instinct is often to try and add a burst of speed through impact, which leads to really unpredictable distances.
Makes sense.
So by pre-programming the distance with the length of the backswing, the lever, you take that unpredictable speed variable mostly out of the equation. There's a quote from a pro that sums it up perfectly, something like, I just take it back a certain distance and it comes out with a certain launch. I control the distance by the length of my backswing, not how hard I hit it.
That idea of pre-programming distance, that's absolute gold.
Okay, but having consistent distance doesn't help much if the ball flight itself is all over the place.
Right.
Especially if there's any wind.
Good point. Which brings us directly to strategy number 3, trajectory control.
Controlling how high the ball flies.
Precisely. Elite players prioritize a lower flight, higher spin wedge shot.
Lower. That sounds kind of wrong for a short shot. Don't you want height?
It does sound counterintuitive, yeah. But a lower trajectory gives you predictable carry distance. It cuts through the wind better instead of ballooning up.
Oh, okay.
And the high spin. That gives you the stopping power you need once it lands. It minimizes that unpredictable rollout after it hits the green. Right, so you know roughly where it's going to finish. Okay, so if you watch an average amateur hit, say, a 60-yard shot, they often lean back, trying to scoop it, right? Trying to help the ball up.
Very common flaw. They add dynamic loft at impact, scoop it, and the ball just pops up high, spins very little, and comes up short.
So what's the mechanical fix for that scooping instinct?
You have to learn to execute what feels like a descending blow. And the setup is really crucial here. First, play the ball slightly back in your stance compared to normal.
Okay, back a bit.
Second, and this is key, lean the shaft significantly forward at address. Get your hands well ahead of the ball.
Forward press.
Exactly. Then, the goal is to swing down and through, maintaining that shaft lean through impact. Hit the ball first, then the turf. This effectively de-lofts the club face as it strikes the ball.
It probably feels quite awkward at first, like you're going to drive it into the ground.
It can, yeah, because you feel like you should be adding loft, opening the face maybe, but you're actually creating a steeper angle of attack to compress the ball properly.
And here's where it gets pretty technical, based on the models. The pro tip is that a really reliable wedge shot should launch at roughly 50% of the club's stated loft.
That's the benchmark. So if you're hitting a 56-degree wedge, you're actually aiming for a launch angle around, say, 28 degrees.
Half.
If you've got a 60-degree wedge, you're aiming for about 30 degrees launch. You're intentionally taking loft off the club through impact to create that piercing controlled flight.
Wow.
That deliberate manipulation of launch angle, that's the secret sauce for predictability. It gives you maximum control over where that ball lands, almost regardless of the wind or conditions.
Okay, let's unpack this. We've got the 3 mechanical strategies. Better gapping with your wedges, consistent swing length, not effort, and that controlled low flight trajectory.
Fantastic.
Now, how do we actually apply this newfound consistency on the course? We know that north-south miss, that 12-yard dispersion, is still going to happen sometimes. So how do we plan for it, especially when the pin is tucked away near an edge?
Right, this is where smart course management, strategic targeting, separates the good players from the really great ones. The best players, they've internalized that 12-yard dispersion figure. They accept it, and they actually use it to their advantage.
How so?
Well, when the pin is tucked tight, say near the front edge or the back edge of the green, they don't aim right at it. They intentionally aim for a safer landing zone, even if it looks a bit conservative from the fairway.
Okay, so walk me through that. If it's a front pin.
If it's a front pin, you don't aim directly at the flagstick. You aim maybe 5–10 feet deeper into the green.
Why?
Because you know if you hit your perfect shot, okay, you're still close, maybe 10 feet past the hole, but if you hit your average short miss, that 12-yard miss we talked about, you still have a chance of landing on the front edge of the green instead of being short-sighted in a bunker or deep rough.
You're building in a buffer for the miss, your safety valve.
Exactly. You aim for your safety valve,
Mm-hmm.
and conversely, if the pin is way in the back, near the back edge,
You aim short.
you aim slightly short of it, same logic. If you flush it, great, you're near the pin. If you happen to miss it a bit long this time, you've given yourself that extra margin of error to keep the ball on the putting surface instead of flying over the back into trouble.
Makes sense. And what about pins tucked way over on one side?
For those side pins, they use what's called a safe lane strategy. So instead of aiming right at the flagstick, which brings the edge of the green and any trouble right into play for a slight miss,
Right.
they aim maybe 10, 12 feet away from the pin's edge, more towards the center of the green.
Okay, this seems quite conservative.
It looks conservative, definitely. You see it on TV sometimes and think, why didn't he go right at it?
Yeah.
But these shots, they're the absolute hallmark of high-level risk management. They turn potentially damaging shots into solid birdie looks, or at worst, easy pars, and crucially, they avoid those scorecard-wrecking bogeys or doubles.
It's really about playing the percentages, accepting the reality of dispersion, and making decisions based on, like, physics, not just wishful thinking.
That sums it up perfectly. Physics, not optimism.
Okay, that brings us to a really interesting point. Traditionally, getting this kind of precision insight, knowing your exact attack angle, your exact shaft, lean at impact, your kinematic sequence, all that stuff, that was only for the elite players, right? The ones with access to million-dollar launch monitors and performance labs.
Yeah, absolutely. Which raises a really important question. Now that we understand what elite wedge control actually looks like, how can the average golfer possibly get that same level of precise, personalized feedback without, breaking the bank on equipment or dedicated coaching?
And the answer increasingly seems to be the AI revolution in golf tech.
It really is. This kind of precision analysis, which used to need specialized labs, is now becoming accessible using just a smartphone camera through motion capture in apps like, say, the AI Golf chatbot.
It's not just giving you basic club head speed anymore.
Oh, far beyond that. It's providing real-time biomechanical insights. Let's actually break down what this tech can show you, because this is where I think the average player can finally start diagnosing their fundamental swing flaws, not just guessing.
Okay, lay it out for us.
All right, first, big one, diagnosing contact issues. It can measure your shaft lean at impact and tell you your low point depth relative to the ball. So for that amateur who struggles with the high, weak, scoopy wedge shot we talked about, this tech can instantly show them if they're adding loft through impact scooping instead of de-lofting the club like they should be. That immediately tells them why they aren't hitting that 50% launch angle target.
Wow, instant feedback on that. What else?
Second, power and efficiency analysis. It can analyze what's called segmental speeds in the kinematic chain. Now, that sounds super technical.
Yeah, a little bit.
But basically, it tracks how efficiently your body transfers energy. Like from your hips turning to your shoulders turning, then to your arms, and finally to the club. It can tell you if you're losing energy somewhere, maybe casting the club early, throwing it from the top, which is another huge distance killer, even on short shots.
So it sees how your body moves to create speed.
Exactly. The sequence and the speed of each segment. And third, and this is really cool, it offers personalization. Some systems, like bioswing dynamics are mentioned, help categorize your natural way of moving your core movement pattern, like whether you're naturally an upper core, middle core, or lower core player.
And the AI uses that info.
Yeah, the AI can use that classification to suggest the type of wedge swing technique that might best suit your natural biomechanics.
So it's not just one-size-fits-all advice anymore.
Not at all.
Yeah.
This is genuinely democratizing elite-level knowledge. You can literally compare your swing, captured on your phone, directly against professional models, and get personalized drills recommended specifically for your movement patterns and your specific faults. It's moving away from just guessing based on magazine tips towards actual scientific one-to-one feedback.
That's pretty amazing. Okay, so bringing it all together then, what's the big takeaway for the listener trying to conquer this 50 to 100-yard zone?
Well, if we connect this all to the bigger picture, the real transformation for the amateur scoring game, it's waiting right there in that 50 to 100-yard range. You got to realize this zone is about calculated precision. It's finesse, not brute force.
Right.
And the change really hinges on those three core things we discussed. First, get your wedge gapping sorted out, maybe at that gap wedge. Second, commit to mastering swing length using something like the clock method, not variable effort. And third, learn to control your trajectory, aiming for that lower spinning ball flight.
And now you can combine those strategies with the kind of insights from AI analysis, giving you that precise real-time feedback on your specific swing mechanics, things that were just impossible for amateurs to get before.
Exactly. You can literally benchmark your own 60-yard half swing against a Tour Pro model and know exactly why you might be losing those crucial yards to that north-south dispersion. It's powerful stuff.
It really is.
And that leads us to a final thought for you to maybe mull over. Given how powerful AI is becoming at providing this incredibly detailed biomechanical feedback on something as, well, as nuanced and complex as a 60-yard wedge shot where every tiny degree of shaft lean, every millisecond of sequence timing matters,
Yeah.
what other complex skills that rely on fine motor control, maybe beyond golf, even beyond sports entirely,
Yeah.
what other skills could be rapidly accelerated or maybe even mastered thanks to this kind of personalized, immediate motion capture feedback becoming available to everyone?